It's getting to be about that time of year again. The kids are going back to school and we are gonna make the cutest pencil pouch to send them back in style. All you need for this project is a piece of printer paper, a 3-ring binder to mark your dots where those spots need to be for your grommet tool. Cat's out of the bag, a grommet tool. I got this one on Amazon. It came with, I don't know, 500 pieces to it, and then the grommet tool, and it was under 20 bucks. I'll link it in the description for you. And then whatever fabric you want to make yours out of. So today I'm gonna use this cute quilting cotton I got from Hobby Lobby that looks like school supplies, and then this really cute little yellow piece of fabric for the backing. So you'll need to cut 2 main pieces using your printer paper as the template. So just cut the whole thing around that printer paper piece, and then 2 pieces of lining. The next thing we're gonna do is stabilize these to give the pencil pouch a little bit more stability. So let's go to the ironing board and I'll show you how to do that. I have some medium weight fusible interfacing here. It's a little thicker than the ultra light, and it's just gonna give those pieces a little bit more stability. So take your first piece. Yours will hopefully not be as wrinkly as mine. Mine's been sitting in a ball in the corner of my sewing room for a little while. And you're gonna lay it down. I'm gonna just line mine up and do this as seamlessly as possible. So I'll cut my edge here and then just iron those pieces on. Kind of optional. If you want a more flimsy pencil case, that's fine. You can skip this step. Cut those pieces. Lovely. Repeat this on your lining pieces and then I'll meet you at the sewing machine. Lucky for you, I have ADD, and while I was over there ironing these together, I noticed this scrap of home decor fabric in my stash, and I decided I'm gonna make 2 pencil pouches, one for me and one for my daughter. So mine's gonna be out of the home decor fabric, hers is gonna be with quilting cotton, and the point of this is to show you that any fabric will most likely work for this. Now, one thing that would make this easier, and I don't have any on hand right now, is if you wanted to skip this next step entirely, you could get what's called some heat and bond light. And what that does is actually it would stick these 2 pieces of fabric together so that they are just one and you don't have to do this next step. If you want to do that, that would make it a lot easier, but not everybody has access to that. So I'm just going to show you this way, and then if you want to change it up, that's totally fine. So stick your 2 pieces together. Fun little trick. I've got black thread loaded on the top, which will be on this side, and I've got white thread loaded on the bottom, which will show on this side. So you can change it to whatever you like. It's really all a matter of preference. I'm gonna up my stitch length to a 3.5, and I think I'm just gonna work my way across diagonally. It doesn't have to be super fancy. And then let's do the other diagonal. You can draw these lines if you want. I just don't feel like it's that serious, so. But maybe that's just me. And then, I don't know, how about straight down? We'll make a star. And across. Just keep everything nice and flat as you go. Cool. Quilted enough for me. And look at those cute little lines on the back. Okay, repeat that on your other piece. Again, ADD. I found all these cute little letters in my stash. So I'm gonna put that on her pencil pouch. I think that'll be cute. So this is an iron-on, and I'm gonna press it with a pressing cloth over it. Then we're gonna stitch around it because these things don't stick when you iron them on ever. So it's kind of stuck, but I'm gonna sew. I switched to a gold thread on the top. I'm gonna sew in this gold area. It's really good if you're wanting to get better at like turning and pinpoint accuracy. But again, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just good practice. Oh, that's really cute. Good and stuck now. Okay, let's pick a zipper. Here is my zipper box. Wonder what color we should do. We've got yellow. The blue is cute. Light blue. Love that. Love that for this. Okay. Just for now, cut it a little bit longer than the length of your bag. And this is where we're going to pick up sewing the home decor fabric as well. So we're going to do the zipper install. That's the first step for this one, because here's the deal with home decor fabrics. A lot of times they're nice on both sides. So you don't have to put any extra work into this to stabilize it because it's already pretty thick and about the same thickness as what I've got here now. Let's see, zipper wise for this, the gray. All right, cut it a little bit longer. And we need zipper pulls. Nice silver zipper pull. On the front piece, I'm gonna cut however far down you want your zipper to go on the bag. So I'm gonna do just 1 inch down from the top of my bag. So cut off a 1-inch piece. And then I'm gonna do the same thing for my other bag. Make sure you're only cutting through your front piece. Gorgeous. Here's where the two different, and they're not super different, but here's where the two different zipper installs come in. For this piece, I'm gonna add a zipper tab. For this side, I'm just gonna sew it into the seam, okay? So it's two different ways of looking at it, and I'll show you then the two different finishes. You'll see how they look different. Put your zipper pull on the zipper teeth. Laying it down on your cutting mat is usually the best option to kind of even out those teeth. But that's why we cut it a little bit bigger than it needs to be, because I've got a bubble here and I'm not even gonna worry about it because I'll pop it off the end. And now for this install, we wanna make the zipper 1 inch shorter anyway. So clean up this side and then move your zipper pull back a little bit. We're gonna cut off right about here. Okay, so my zipper is now 1 inch shorter. Take a piece of your lining or whatever fabric you want, and you're gonna cut 2 1.5 by 2 inch squares of fabric. Go to the machine. I'll leave my gold thread on for this part because this is a lighter fabric. So I'm gonna fold these sides in and then fold the whole thing in on itself. This is creating a stopper for my zipper. Lay the zipper teeth into that little thing and then sew about 1/4 inch away from the edge. Hold it nice and straight. Okay. Trim up the sides and repeat that for the other end. Now over on your home decor fabric, make the zipper the same length as the top. So that's the difference this time. We're gonna cut it to be as long as the top of your bag. I'm gonna load my white thread back into my top, and my white thread is still in the bottom. Okay, and we're gonna put a zipper foot on. This is your zipper foot. It's not scary, I promise. Take off your other presser foot and load it onto the left bar. Make sure that your needle is centered into the divot of this zipper foot. And we're gonna take our first part of the zipper face down and sew it. The presser foot is lined up with the raw edge of the top of my bag, and I'm just sewing this straight across. I would not recommend sewing like one side of, like separating the zipper and sewing one side and then the other side and then adding your zipper pull, because if you're new to zippers, getting that zipper pull on nice and even is going to be tricky. So it's worth it to just load it on the front end and do this part next. Okay, we're just sewing all the way to the end. Beautiful. One thing you can do is, if you're worried that this is going to fray, this fabric, you can trim it to be shorter than your zipper tape. The other thing you can do is push that zipper a little bit higher than the raw edge of your bag when you sew it, and that'll flip down nice and clean. I'll show you that method on the next side. So if you're handy with your scissors, just trim off this little area, and then when you lay it down, none of that fabric will show, thus none of that fabric will fray. I'm giving you options here, so whatever your comfort level is, you do that. Okay, so when I fold this down now, see how it covers up that raw edge? Isn't that great? And if you want to sew this from this side, that's fine. Just to make sure you're hitting it every time, I'll do it that way just so you can see. It's really whatever is easiest for you. Sewing shouldn't be stressful, it should be fun. Look how beautiful that looks. It's so professional looking. Okay, that's the one side of your zipper done now. Lay that little tiny piece up at the top, switch back to your zipper foot on the left bar, and make it nice and even. And I would sew from the tape side because you can see then. And for this one, I'm gonna let it overhang about 1/8 of an inch. Do you see how it's sticking out there? And that will make this part even easier. So that's option 2. This one is a little bit trickier because you have to sort of check on it every few inches and make sure that that zipper tape is still hanging over the edge by about 1/8 of an inch. But with a little practice, this way becomes just sort of the way you do it. A lot of sewing I have found over the years is foresight. It's planning ahead and thinking 2 steps ahead of where you are to better plan for where you're going to be in a few minutes. And this is definitely one of those tactics, is to think ahead and be like, how can I make that raw edge disappear without a whole lot of extra work? And this is the way you do that. Okay, so when I fold this down, see how it just disappears? And I can sew this from this side, and I'm just gonna leave my zipper foot on to sew this because I'm gonna just sew a nice straight line. Okay, so here's your zipper from the front and here's it from the back. Isn't that beautiful? So to finish this up for this step, I want you to lay your back piece and your front piece together so that the right sides are facing out on both sides. And if you want to clip this, that's fine to hold everything in place. We're gonna sew just a basting stitch around the whole shebang to make sure everything stays in place. At about 1/8 of an inch, if you can swing it, just sew right down the edge. When you get to that bottom part, lift the presser foot and pivot. Just make sure everything's staying flat for this part. Okay, zipper number 2. Load that zipper foot back on the left. Now on your front piece, that's all we're working with right now, I want you to lay that zipper so that there's about 1/2 an inch on either side. And we're gonna sew it on just like we did the other piece. You can clip this if you want. I'm lining that raw edge up with the edge of my zipper presser foot edge, and just work your way across. Okay, flip it down. And again, if you want to do the trimming method or if you want to do the overhang by 1/8 of an inch method, either one is fine. Just make sure you don't cut into your zipper tape, because that's a bummer. All right, switch feet, fold it down so that it covers the raw edge. And again, you can sew this from the back or the front. However, and you might want to, no, well, it's not that serious. I'm not going to switch back to the black thread. let's just leave it white. The more color, the better. Love. All right, so this one, lay down, switch to the zipper foot. You're switching back and forth. It's a lot of switcheroonies. Now for this one, remember how we did it with the zipper tape over by 1/8 of an inch? Let's do it that way, just for funsies this time. Again, that is a little bit more challenging. So if it's easier for you to just sew it and then trim it, or if you really are brand new, just don't trim it at all, because honestly, who cares that much if a tiny little raw edge is sticking out in your pencil pouch? Especially if you're just making it for yourself or for your kid or just for practice. Don't let those things stress you out. Everybody freaks out about raw edges. I get comments if there's even the tiniest little fraying in one of my projects, but remember, sweet friends, I am not catering to the professional sewist. Those people know about raw edges. They have feelings and they express them. What I'm catering to is I want you to feel empowered. So if leaving that little edge open and just whatever makes you want to finish the project, I'd rather you do that than to just do something that stresses you out really bad. People who are starting sewing are fragile. They need to be handled with care. So fold this one up and top stitch it. Most of all, I just want y'all to be nice to yourselves and to each other. I'm looking at you, quilt police. Slow your roll, especially in this forum, because I'm not going to put up with it. I will delete. I don't like negativity. I don't like people who come in and try and tell everybody they're doing it wrong. It's not nice. It's not necessary. If you're trying at all, I count that a win. Heavens, the world's too full of negativity for us to be mean about sewingable things. All right. There you go. Zipper installed. Okay, so here is the second method. And there's the first method. This one's a little bit easier. This one adds a little bit of a pop of color. It's really whatever you want to do. In this instance, you're not going to end up sewing over the zipper when you finish it, which might make it a little bit easier for you. Okay, so lay these together just like we did the other ones. And we're going to sew around the edge. Don't worry about this open space because that's going to get covered up with your quilt binding that we're going to do here in just a minute. And yes, I know I said quilt binding. Everybody calm down. It's really going to be fine. Almost done. We've got our 2 pencil pouches. Now we need to bind the edges of them. I'm going to use for this one, this fun yellow. It's just a leftover piece that I have. I'm going to cut 2.5-inch strips with whatever I have left, and we're going to hope for the best. If you want to actually do the math to figure out if you have enough, measure each side of your pouch and add those together, and that's what you'll need. I like to live dangerously. Plus, I'm pretty sure this is going to be fine. To make your binding, take one piece face up and put the other one perpendicular face down. And we're going to sew from corner to corner. I might have just enough of this fabric like on the dot. Trim these little triangle pieces out of the way. And then we're going to go over and press this into binding tape. The first thing I like to do is just flatten out those seams with my iron. And then we're going to fold it up so the wrong sides are touching and create a folded over piece. And this is what we'll be using for our binding. You can do whatever color you want. Any scrap you have laying around usually works. You can also buy this if you don't feel like making it, just buy some. But I do recommend you learn how to make it because when you do start making quilts, you're going to want that binding to really pop and be significant visually to your quilt. And a lot of times the stuff you find in stores is boring. So The binding process is the same for both bags. So I'm going to show you on this one, and then we'll show you, I'll just do the other one. So lay this down, find an edge, go about halfway down, and you're not going to start sewing right at this edge. You're going to start about 2 inches away from that edge at a 1/4 inch seam. Stop about a 1/4 inch from the edge, back stitch, and cut your thread. You're doing this on the front side. Fold this up so that it makes an angle that like matches to the corner of your project, and then fold it down so that it looks like this. So you've got a little hidden triangle in here. This is how you miter your corners. Make sure you backstitch all the way to the edge and then start sewing. Let me show you that miter process one more time. Stop 1/4 inch away from the edge, backstitch, cut. Fold it up and then fold it down. Start at the edge, go forward, backstitch, go forward. Keep working your way around until you have everything mitered, and then I'll meet you at the end and show you what to do next. I'm about to cross over my stitching. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to actually stop and cut my fabric right where that stitch line is, so you have an overlapping piece. Fold the end in to create a finished edge. See how it's finished? And then lay that raw edge into there. Okay, that covers up your raw edge and gives you a seamless finish. Then keep sewing till you reach your stitches that you started with and backstitch. Cute. I love this. Okay. Now we're gonna finish this on our machine. It's not my favorite way to finish binding. I prefer to hand sew it, but on a project like this, it's not that big of a deal. So grab your clips, and if you want to like press this, you can, but I'm not going to do that because I don't want to get too close to that zipper with a hot iron. So I just basically need to fold this down to make sure it's covering my stitches on the back side. Do you see how I've got the stitches there? I'm folding this down. When you reach the mitered corner, it might help to trim some of these threads that aren't necessary. Just don't cut your fabric. Okay. Fold one end over and one end down. You see how, let me clip it. See how it creates that nice little corner? That's what we want. So continue working your fabric down and clipping it and doing those corners. Okay. Trim all this mess. Lovely. Fold it in and down. Clip it. Keep going. I am so excited about this pouch. It is so cute. Now to finish it up, I'm going to stitch about an 1/8 to a 1/16 inch away from my seam. And the point of this is to capture all of that fabric on the back side. So as long as you clipped it nice and accurate, stitching from the front side should work out pretty well. You could try and stitch in the ditch. I am historically very bad at that because I just can't pay attention that well. So I don't do that. I let my seams or my stitches show and the world keeps turning. So you do it however you want. Okay, it's done. Well, almost done. We have to do the grommets, but oh my gosh, this is so cute. Now, in retrospect, I think I would have liked to leave my zipper a little bit longer. So you would maybe want to cut it a 1/2 inch shorter than the length of the top of your bag. I hadn't made it this way before, so it was kind of like a test. Now on this side, it got a little bit closer. So it's all about how accurate you are with your stitches. Don't come after me in the comments. We're all just learning here, and I thought it would be fun to try. So we've got this other one to do now too, but let me show you the inside. Look how nice that looks. It's perfect for holding anything that you need. Oh, she's gonna love this when she sees it. Okay, let's work on the other one and we'll finish both up and then you guys can decide which one's your favorite. I decided to go classic red for this. I think that's gonna really make the red in this pop. So we're gonna sew this binding just like we did the other binding. And I may switch to red thread to finish it up, but for right now, we'll just do white. You can certainly be more matchy-matchy with your thread if you like, but you also don't have to take it that seriously. Just sent my kids back to school this morning, and of course I'm filming a tutorial immediately, but my son started middle school today, and I'll tell you what, that was a weird feeling watching him walk in there. I remember my first day of middle school. I remember what I wore. I wore a sunflower baby doll dress that I dug out of my sister's drawer who was in college because I thought it would make me look cooler. But dude, middle school is a tough couple of years. Am I right? Like, I don't know. It was formative and fun, but it was also a lot of emotions. So I'm just preparing myself to, and boys I think are a little different. They handle things differently. So, and he's really close with both me and his dad, which is great. So whoever he needs to talk to, we're here for him. It just was surreal. Of course I got into like my feelings about it and thought about like, gosh, I just had you. Like, and I don't know, the other day he was laying next to me on the bed and he had the hiccups and I almost started crying because I was thinking about how he used to get hiccups in my tummy. Did you ever have that happen? If you've been pregnant, have you ever felt those baby hiccups? I always thought it was the funniest thing when they would get hiccups in there. Like your tummy would start popping up every few seconds. Being a mom is incredible, I'll tell you that. There's no real book you can write for being a mom. You can try, but man, we're just all learning it as we go. Just like sewing. So whatever you're making today, whether that's growing a child or a sewing project, I hope that you have a good day and that it's going well for you. And especially when it comes to sewing, I just want you guys to feel like you believe in yourselves. Sewing isn't for everybody, right? Like you may try this for a few weeks and be like, this isn't for me, and that's okay. That's with any hobby, any sport, anything you try, you may or may not love. So if you decide sewing is not for you, or if I'm not for you, that's okay. It's all good. There's a million people on here who can teach you pretty much anything you want to know. It's grommet time. So here are our 2 pencil pouches. I think they're so cute, but now we need to put the holes in them so that they can go in our 3-ring binder. So take your paper where you marked those little dots, and you can either use a marking pen or you can even just clip it kind of in that area. This is dark fabric, so I don't know that I'll be able to see any dots that I would make. To use the grommet tool, you're going to load this little washer guy with the pointy part on it up into this part, and it should be magnetized. Any like one that's been made recently, they have magnetized them. And then the one with the divots, there's like a puffy side and then a side with the like concave part, lay that face up. You're going to, I'm just going to put my finger where I know that needs to be, and do the bigger side on the top and decide how far in you want to place it, and then squeeze the living daylights out of it. Oh, look at that. It's perfect. How cute is that? And it's okay if it hits the binding, who cares? Let's do it again. And there it is. One more. Isn't it incredible how that just immediately makes it look more professional? I'm going to do the grommets on this side, and then I'll show you how they lay in the binder. Moment of truth. Does it fit in the binder? It does. It's perfect. I love that. And you could turn the letter however you wanted. If you wanted to make it vertical, it's all up to you and your imagination. I'm happy with how this turned out. I think it's cute. And then we've got the more adult looking one, if that's your thing. Cute. I love it. I think this one's my favorite. I really love how it turned out. The zipper installation was a good thing to try. I'm not sure if it's entirely necessary for this type of bag. It's a little bit extra work with not a whole lot of return on the investment. So I would probably do this zipper install where you just go to the ends. It was a fun experiment. I like how they turned out. I think my daughter's gonna be really excited about this for school. Thanks so much for following along today. I'm Chelsea with She Sew Seams. Make sure you like and subscribe to stay up to date on all of my upcoming content, and I will see you next time.